Okay, so today I want to talk about something that's really personal. Could be a trigger for some people, so fair warning. Hi, I'm Rosalind, and I talk about all things health, well-being, spirituality, and even just like world economics. But okay, so today I'm going to talk about this astrologer that I follow. I don't really follow him too much anymore because I think we're like not on the same wavelength anymore. And he's a great astrologer, and I've followed him like well over a decade. And I go through my moments with him where I'm like, I really like what he's saying. Then there are other moments where I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on with you? I mean, some of us we're really open and we wear our heart on our sleeves, and sometimes maybe how we deliver things, it doesn't resonate with everyone. So that's been my issue with him, like some of the comments and what he says about other people or other astrologers. It kind of like rubs me the wrong way. But he's a great astrologer, like he really knows his stuff. So that's why I always find myself kind of going back to him. But lately though, like he's projecting like a lot of negative energy, just a lot. And he's probably going through a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of us are going through a lot of stuff. I myself included. Like, I feel like the United States is going through a tower moment, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm right along with it because I feel it as well, right? Pluto in the second house. I'm having a lot of second house issues right now because I was involved with crypto and the stock market like heavily. But that's another topic for another day. But so there's something though that kind of really just turned me off. Like I don't know. Something about him that triggered me. Okay, so he's dating someone and they're getting married and they're having a baby, right? Which is great. My only thing is, like, she's really young. I mean, there's like a 20-year difference, which doesn't really mean much to me, in my opinion. If you're like, I don't know, 30 and, they're like maybe 45, 48, right? Like, because I think when you're 30, you've lived some life, like a good amount of life. But when you're like in your 20s, like, when you're 21, 22, 23, I mean, shit, under 25, I think, like, you're still barely finding your way. I mean, my son is, barely 23, and I think about that, he's barely 23. And I know his frame of mind. Like, I know how he thinks, and I know where he's still immature, and, I mean, most parents who have 20-year-olds, right? Like, we know that they're still young. There's so much more that they need to learn, and then to like have them date somebody who's almost 20 years older, who has lived a lot of life, right? Because my son's 23, I'm 41. I'm 41. I've lived a lot of life, okay? But there's an exception, because some people are old souls, Like, I have a good friend whose son who's always been very mature for his age because he's naturally an old soul. Or someone who has gone through, like, a lot of stuff. Like, you guys have seen This Is Us, right? A lot. I'm assuming so. A lot of people have. It's a great show. But so if you have, Deja, right? You remember the episode where she wants to like graduate high school early, and she's 17, wants to live with her boyfriend, and then her dad, Randall, right? Was like, you are 17, you're not dropping out of school, you're way too young, blah blah blah. And then she says, like, I may be 17, but I've lived more life than most people twice my age. because if you've seen the show, she basically is like a mother to her mom. I mean, they've been homeless. She's had to help her mom, pay the bills. You know what I mean? It's just like, yes, that's different because you've lived a lot of life. Like, she may be 17, but shit, technically she's probably like 28, and you've gone through so much stuff. So me at 23, I've gone through like so much by the age of 23. I was already a mom, but even before that, I'm technically like an immigrant, I guess, right? I mean, I came here when I was a baby, but I wasn't born here. So like my generation, like the ones that arrived here when we were just babies, we were really young, like our parents, they don't know like the American way, right? They brought their ways here to America, and their ways compared to America's ways, no, it's like day and night. So if you are an immigrant, right, and you have parents who did not take on their American way, you guys know what I'm talking about. The things that we had to deal with, like you're like elementary school and you're having to like translate for your parents. You're having to read paperwork and do all these adult things that fucking no kid, in America that was born here had to do. Like my friend is like a first generation, right? Like maybe second generation. I'm not really sure. I don't know, but pretty much, he's born here. He doesn't know anything other than the American lifestyle, right? And I grew up here, so all the things that I had to deal with, he didn't have to. Okay, like so on top of like having to basically take care of your parents, right? Like my home life wasn't great, right? Like, you see like a lot of like abuse and just a lot of disrespect, a lot of, with Asian culture, it's just like totally okay to like call you like every horrible name in the book for some weird reason. Like, I don't know why they think that's okay, but that they think it's okay. So I grew up in a home where I was constantly just being like called out, like, and things I didn't have a lot of support, and and then my birth father is like just total this so, and then like all the other issues that come with just not having a supportive home, and then getting onto the wrong track, and just like, so basically what I'm saying is like me at 23, like I was probably fucking 35, and I've always been more mature anyways. I've always, I don't know if it's just because naturally, like maybe naturally I was just more mature, or maybe the things that have happened to me has made me much more mature for my time. But so that's the exception if you're an old soul, or if you've gone through hella stuff. But for those that, let's say for someone like my son who didn't nearly go through even a quarter of the things that I went through, he has lived a pretty good life, right? Pretty good life. He's much more mature than people his age, though, that's for sure. But the mentality is still different, like when you were protected, when you were taken care of, and given like more than enough love and the things that you needed to grow into a good man, human being, citizen, significant other, friend, right? So it's different. The maturity level, his maturity level compared to mine, of course it's going to be different because we have experienced so many different things. But so he is with this girl who I don't know, from me watching her talk, I still think she's very young. I don't know her background. So, but I just feel like she's really young and just not as mature as probably I was at that age. But I mean, who knows? But then it got me thinking though, like, why is it triggering me? Like, why is it my problem? Because it's not my problem. So why is it irking me? Like, and it did irk me, and I couldn't like figure out why. Like, yeah, I wouldn't date a 23-year-old because I feel like, that's my son's age, right? So maybe that's why. But for people who don't have kids, they probably don't feel that same way. Then I'm like, okay, it's triggering me. Like, let me get to the bottom of it, because why is it bothering me so much? And then I had to think back into like my childhood, like, which a lot of us don't really want to get, we think we've healed and we've let a lot of things go, but something like that happens and it brings it all back up again. So like when I was a young child, like elementary school, 3rd grade, I remember like my father bringing like his friends around, like men that like I felt as like a young child, that their thoughts and what they're thinking of me was like not pure. It was not good. I was uncomfortable, and I felt these things at a fucking really young age, and I just remember like, going on like went on like a vacation kind of thing. For us it was a vacation, but he took us on like his work thing, right? He lived out of the state at the time, so it was like an adventure. But he like was like some kind of like, I don't know if he was like he was leading a group of guys, right, doing whatever work they do, right? And we were in, I think, Montana or something over there. But so anyways, he had like a group of men that worked for him, right? And I vividly remember I was like probably in the 2nd or 3rd grade or something, right? Like this one much older dude, like just like same thing, just like looking at me and gawking at me. I'm like, I was fucking uncomfortable, like, and and it was like countless people that he would bring around, like, where they made me feel so uncomfortable, and I was just a child, and I didn't tell him because I didn't know what I was feeling. All I knew is that I was uncomfortable, and so it's like, I think that's what it is, right? It's like, it's bringing up like this childhood thing for me, right? That, was probably really just, it stuck with me. And I think about it like throughout life, like I always, was extra careful and cautious, like, and on top of that, my mom used to like really be on me too, right? Like about, going out by myself, being by myself, and like, she used to get like really paranoid when I'd go out late at night. And then she'd wait for me to come home, make sure I was okay. So, a lot of it was just like fear of like these older predatory men, or just predatory men in general. So, and it got me just thinking like it really affected me. And the thing is, I don't know if like there's any like trauma, like past lives or anything. Like some of us have reincarnated like who knows how many times, and we've gone through different things. So like sometimes like I think I'm like African American because I've always really loved like the the music, like just like the whole like culture, like I've always really liked it. I'm really into it. I mean, granted, the music I listened to then is not what I like now. Like back in the day, it'd be like what, Dr. Dre, but now it's more like I like Ann Peebles. I think that's her name. The woman that sings I Can't Stand the Rain. Like back in the day, I would have never like listened to that. Like her other music, I wouldn't have. But I'm assuming now that I'm older now, I appreciate it differently. So yeah, sometimes I think maybe I was black in another life, right? Or maybe in another life I things happened that that were not good. So that could explain why I carry like that underlining fear. I don't know if it was embedded from the experiences from when I was a child, right, or how things my mom used to say. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, that's probably why. Like that triggered me. Seeing him with that young woman, that triggered me. Like, and then, like, guys date young women all the time. I mean, there's even young, women date young guys. I'm big Jennifer Lopez. Like, when she was dating that 23-year-old too, right? And she was much older. Like, that didn't trigger me, right? I thought it's kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, she was just a sugar mama. That's how I saw it. But it didn't trigger me, though. Not the same way. So, as I, like, really dive deep into it and really think about it, like, that's what it is. It's me, something that's triggering me. Not has nothing to do with him or her. It's just me. Like, so my advice to you guys is, like, if something triggers you, I'm gonna say probably 8 times out of 10, it's something within you. Like, they're bringing up something. It's a reflection of something that's going on, like with you, something that maybe you thought you let go of, but you didn't. Just like, see, like with me, I had no idea, like, that still bothered me, but it does. So I guess now it's like, what are you going to do about it, right? How are you going to heal from it? Like, what messages, like, or learning experience can you take from it? And I think for me, for now, it's just like, just to be aware, when something triggers me, it's not about the other person all the time. Sometimes, yeah, but not always. It's something that I need to work on for myself. And then maybe, I don't know, is it something that you can heal, that you can forgive? Maybe not. But if not, it is not my place to judge him. Even if I don't agree with it, it's not my place. And again, I don't know anything about their relationship or who she is or anything, so I shouldn't judge. Although I still do feel like, depending on her level of maturity, like that matters. If I had a daughter that was, 23, I can rest assured that I would not be comfortable with her dating a 40-year-old man. Like, I just wouldn't. Because there's a reason why. If I raised her the way I raised my son, she's probably a little bit more mature for her age, but not that much more mature, so. But anyways, hopefully, like, this wasn't too triggering. For those of us that have gone through things in our lives, men or women, right? Especially when it comes to, like, sexual things, right? And being violated. It's not something, like, we talk about. Gosh. People have gone through years of therapy and still struggle in their late adult age. But anyways, yeah, that's it for now. I just wanted to talk about that, and it was a good realization for me. Something else that I obviously have to work out, and figure out how can I let it go. And is it really like is it like a ball and chain that I'm carrying, like an invisible one I didn't even know. I don't know, but we'll see. So I hope everybody's doing well. And I always say this during these times, that things are chaotic, and they still seem to be chaotic. I'm like, oh my god, it's like a broken record. The astrology is intense right now. Intense. And it's like actually freaking exhausting. You know? First it's March is crazy. Then it's April, we got the eclipse is crazy. Then you got May again, another eclipse and it's crazy. All this freaking crazy energy, you know? It's freaking exhausting. You know, I'm coming to the point with astrology where it's like, don't hold your breath. You know? Don't take it so literally. You know, I don't know if I mentioned before about an astrologer, Puro Astrology, which she disappeared. Like, I don't know what happened to her. But she doesn't do predictive astrology, and she doesn't like check her horoscope daily or anything. You know, she kind of just, you know, focuses on like the chart, reading her chart and reading like the big energies. But it, you know, it's not a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, people say different things all the time, but I've watched different astrologers, and it's weird like how they all have their own take on it, right? So it's not a self-fulfilling prophecy because they all look at things differently, and they, you know, different things happen to them in their life in different ways. So, but anyways, okay, that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye. Take care.